violence or no other kind of violence.
Get away! I could be at work, at school, in my car, I can still get shot by the police, but I can get shot anywhere.
So it is what it is.
What's good, YouTube? It's a Black Gen Z Mindset. Make sure you go ahead and like, comment, share, subscribe, and let's get into the video.
A 3-month-old puppy and a man
She cold.
interested in buying her were both shot in Philadelphia. This is Ruby. She, along with the man who was attempting to buy her, were hit by gunfire. It happened in South Philadelphia near the corner of Oakdale and Warnock Streets. Police say the man was struck several times in his legs. He made it to the hospital in a private car. He's in stable condition. Meanwhile, Ruby was critically injured.
Dang, so you can't even sell or buy a puppy. The super gremlins in Philly are shooting puppies now.
The dog obviously was shot in the neck. The dog was not moving, bleeding heavily. So police officers picked up the dog, and a 2-person vehicle took the dog to the hospital.
What about the owner?
No one has been arrested in the case, and it's unclear if the shooting was targeted or the result of a stray bullet. Noah's Ark Rescue Project and Sanctuary tells us Ruby is at Penn's Veterinary Hospital and will need several surgeries.
There is new information tonight on a deadly stabbing. Philadelphia police have arrested a man for the brutal attack of a 50-year-old woman that happened last week in Hunting Park. According to investigators, Jerry Elkins stabbed his aunt to death.
Stabbed his aunt to death. And we've done stories on super gremlins stabbing their grandmothers, super gremlins shooting their grandmothers. We did a story on Thanksgiving where a super gremlin stabbed his own mother to death. And this super gremlin decided to stab his auntie, okay? We got some issues, man. Domestic, familial issues in the community. And, you know, a lot of people like to present these situations as, oh, that's some glider stuff. They the ones who be killing their mamas. And look, I'm not going to say that doesn't happen, because it absolutely does happen. But at the rate at which we do it, like, I think we're taking the cake on that. No cap.
Thursday, inside of her own home on the 3900 block of North 5th Street. Elkins is also the suspect in a separate stabbing that happened the following day.
This dude must have spent a lot of time in prison, because it sounds like he got his shank game up, you know what I mean?
Police have not yet released any details about a motive.
This just in, a group of men shot a 31-year-old in South Philadelphia overnight. It happened outside a recording studio on Jackson Street near Water Street at 1:30 a.m. Police say the victim went outside to grab his food delivery order when 5 men wearing masks jumped him.
Dang. I mean, and this is all in Philly within like the span of a week. The auntie stabbing, that was a couple weeks ago. So we'll let that one slide, but you can't Uber Eats, you hop out, and the recording studios are very dangerous. Anywhere where there's being hip hop music played in a congregation of super gremlins is definitely going to be dangerous. So, you know, I would just say, hey guys, I mean, I got a recording studio at my own home. I suggest you guys do the same.
The victim was shot in the leg but was able to run half a mile to the Wawa in Columbus Boulevard for help. Police drove him to the hospital where he is listed in stable condition. All 5 men fled the scene.
Philadelphia police are trying to track down the 4 individuals who attacked a man leaving a bar Saturday night in Center City. The victim's family says he was left for dead with broken ribs and his teeth knocked out. Action News reporter Walter Perez is live in Norristown tonight, where he talked to the victim. Walter, what have you learned?
Well, Jim, what we learned is that the victim, 27-year-old Jalen Ramsey of Norristown, is lucky to be alive tonight. And tonight his family is hoping that someone has information that can help police find the people responsible. Jalen Ramsey of Norristown was hanging out with friends at Wreckin' Royal this past Saturday night in Center City. He was having a great time at first.
Left out, met some more people outside, and
woo! Look what they did to this boy's face. Lord have mercy.
I was on my way to go get some pizza, and that's the last of my night that I remember.
He woke up in an ambulance with a broken nose and cracked teeth, along with gashes and abrasions across his face.
And he got braces. He just got his teeth, trying to get his teeth fixed, and then the super gremlins came and stomped him out. Gave him a whole root canal.
He also suffered a concussion, leaving him with no memory of what happened that night after he left the restaurant.
I was told that there was a group of guys that were coming down the street. They were talking a lot of mess.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Not just a group of guys, okay? A group of super gremlins on demon time.
I guess those guys and me got into an argument, and then they started to beat me up. And
you don't remember that at all?
No, I don't remember any of it.
Jalen's mom, Rochelle White, says
they beat the memory out that boy.
She got the call from police and rushed to the hospital to be by Jalen's side. But she says nothing could prepare her for what she saw when she got there.
When I went in and pulled the curtain and saw the condition he was in, just no parent, mother, father, family members want to see their family like that.
Tonight, Jalen and his family are calling for peace in the city and for justice in this case.
It's just so dangerous out there. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to make it back to your family at night.
Some of the businesses have cameras. Maybe they can check footage and see and help us find out who did this to my son. That I really would appreciate.
Now, police are still looking for surveillance video that offers a clear view of the people who did this. In the meantime, anyone with any information is asked to contact police. Reporting live from Norristown, Walter Perez, Channel 6 Action News. Jim?
Thank you, Walter.
I'm here on the corner of MLK and Medgar Evers, and it's a very tranquil scene compared to just a couple hours ago where a drive-by shooting just took place. Excuse me. I'm getting live updates as we speak. I've just been updated to the amount of casualties from this drive-by shooting, and I'm getting reports that 2 people were actually declared deceased and 27 others were shot and injured but are in stable condition. And although we must pray for the families of the fallen, we must also praise God for the aim of the super gremlin. If you want to know more about the victims of this crime, make sure you add BGZM News 17 on Patreon at www.patreon.com/blackgenzmindset. Also, don't forget to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and comment on the video to continue the discussion on how we can find solutions to all this gun violence in the streets. For more hard-hitting news coverage from the community, by the community, I'm Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia, BGZM News 17.
And cut.
All right, dog. Let's get the out of here before these niggas come back.
Whoa. Yo!
Whoa.
Ain't that nigga J?
Nah, that ain't me. That ain't me.
He just went live
that
with
ain't
that
me.
funky ass
Yeah,
suit on.
that's that nigga. That's not me.
Hey, get that nigga.
Jenquavius Jackson, here live, reporting from Atlanta, Georgia. Pray for me.
Friends are demanding justice for a D.C. man killed in Philadelphia. It's been more than a week since this man, 41-year-old Eric Pope, was punched by a bouncer outside of a gay bar, and it was all caught on camera.
Yeah, Matthew Torres has the latest in this investigation as his friends in D.C. mourn his death. So, Matthew, what are we learning?
Well, Leslie, we are going to show you that video, but covering the moment of impact. One of his friends here in D.C. questioned why no one has been arrested and tells me there was no reason for him to die the way he did. WUSA 9 obtaining surveillance video in Philadelphia the morning of April 16th. Police saying 41-year-old Eric Pope had just been escorted out of a gay bar called Taboo Bar and Lounge for being intoxicated. Moments after seeing him approaching this white SUV, a bouncer walks up to him, punches Pope before he fell to the ground, and
woo! And he gave him all of his might, okay? He winded that thing up. The LGBT brother was, or it looks like he was a burrito brother, but you know, he was being funny. Probably was told not to touch the car. Got escorted out of the bar. And the bouncer just comes in outside of the bar and takes out all his anger on this guy, man. It's crazy.
Approaching this white SUV, a bouncer walks up to him, punches Pope before he fell to the ground and hit his head.
It's really heartbreaking.
And it's safe to say that these bars are not safe in Philly, okay? In many other parts of the U.S., we've done mass shootings in Sacramento. We've covered shootouts at the Waffle House in Atlanta. We've covered Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where there was a shootout at a club, a bar that was hosting a 90s party. So, you know, you got to be careful out here because these super gremlins are on demon time.
When you watch the video and you just see how people take matters in their own hands for whatever reason.
In the video, Pope was laying on the street for about 2 minutes before he was dragged to the sidewalk. Investigators saying he wasn't responsive when medics arrived. He remained in the hospital in critical condition until he died Saturday.
It took my breath away. I immediately burst into tears. I felt like my heart literally was broken when I saw that, because Eric is just a genuine, just very sweet, compassionate. He's always looking out for people.
Keisha Tate Brown had been friends with Pope for 7 years and used to work together at the Federal Reserve Board. She says as a member of the LGBTQ+ community, he was all about inclusivity, describing him as positive and generous.
You know, very confident in himself. And so he was big on equality. Just, you know, fairness and justice for everyone.
Authorities in Philadelphia tell WSA 9 charges have not been made, but the district attorney says he's taking the situation seriously.
It's just really sad, and I would like justice to be served. I really ultimately do. We're all seeking that.
Now, the bar owner tells our sister station in Philadelphia that the bouncer was not an employee but worked through a security company. The owner says that they are cooperating with investigators. The station did reach out to that security company for comment but have not heard back. Leslie.
Yeah, what a tragedy. Sounds like just an incredible person. Thank you.
Now to other news. About bouncer at a Center City bar is now facing murder charges. Authorities say he punched a patron who fell to the ground and then died several days later. Eyewitness News reporter Makisha Bailey is live outside of Taboo, that club where the incident happened. Good morning, Makisha.
Yeah, good morning, Janelle. Well, police tell us that this bouncer has yet to turn himself in, and the owner here at Taboo says that the bouncer was not an employee, but he was contracted out by a private security firm. Now, all of this while the victim's family and friends are in mourning.
One of the most kindest individuals I've ever been privileged to know.
Wednesday night at Con Park, friends of 41-year-old Eric Pope lit candles to honor his life.
Always was inclusive, and that's why I think it's so hard for me, for him being gone, is that, you know, he always wanted everyone's opinion and everything to do something as a group.
Pope was killed earlier this month after leaving the Taboo nightclub, where he was escorted outside for being intoxicated. In the surveillance video obtained by Eyewitness News, you see the moment a bouncer who has now been identified as 24-year-old Kenneth Frye approach Pope and punch him. Pope falls to the ground unconscious. Officials later confirmed he died of trauma to the brain.
Wow. And could you say that, hey, this might be an LGBT hate crime? Maybe. Maybe it was fueled by that. Maybe that bouncer was upset that he was working that job. Apparently, he didn't work at the bar. He was hired through a third-party security team. And it was absolutely uncalled for. Okay, the guy is over here taunting you, playing around, touching the car, whatever. You know, I get it. He was pushing his limits. A lot of these dudes do feel like they're untouchable and you know, let's keep it a buck. Some of these LGBT dudes feel like they are just like women and they can't be hit by a man. And there are men out here who take offense to that, okay? I'm not saying that's me personally, but I know guys who are waiting to, you know, be an example for why, oh, you know, it's weird, but I've seen it before where guys are waiting to get tried. Like I said, a lot of dudes be on like I wish a nigga would time. And apparently the brother Eric Pope pushed too many buttons and, you know, provoked a super gremlin.
Frye is now facing third-degree murder charges. The owner of Taboo says Frye was hired by a private company. Meanwhile, the district's attorney's office says they've received reports of troubling interactions involving private security workers at neighborhood establishments, saying in part, the district attorney's office continues to work with our partners in law enforcement and government towards safety and justice for all Philadelphians, including members of targeted and vulnerable communities. And this morning, Pope's friends are still adjusting to their loss.
Full of compassion, always went the extra mile to support those around him.
And the events leading up to the punch are still being investigated, and police say that they are still waiting for Frye to turn himself in. Reporting from Center City, Waukesha Bailey, CBS 3 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Waukesha.
But first tonight, a community comes together to remember a man killed outside a Philadelphia bar. I'm Yuki Washington.
I'm Jessica Cartalia. As friends grieve for Eric Pope, the suspect in his death remains on the loose. Kenneth Frye is...
It's bad. He said, I ain't turning myself in. Y'all gonna have to find me.
Wanted on third-degree murder charges. Police say that Frye, who worked as a bouncer, punched Pope outside Taboo Lounge earlier this month. Eyewitness News reporter Carrie Corrado is live in Center City where a vigil was held for the victim. Carrie?
And that dude, that's a big boy right there. Like, he had that one punch knockout, and woo, that's wild.
Jessica, good evening. They all gathered here tonight to help each other process this tragedy. They shared stories and memories right here at this park. It's on 11th and Pine to help remember and honor Eric Pope.
One of the most kindest individuals I've ever been privileged to know.
A vigil to remember and celebrate the life of 41-year-old Eric Pope. Friends and community members gathered at 11th and Pine where they held candles and shared memories.
Full of compassion, always went the extra mile to support those around him.
Always was inclusive, and that's why I think it's so hard for me. For him being gone is that, you know, he always wanted everyone's opinion and everything to do something as a group.
Officials say Pope was in town on April 16th, visiting from D.C. He was escorted out of Taboo Lounge and Sports Bar for being intoxicated. In this video obtained by Eyewitness News, you can see a bouncer, later identified as Kenneth Frye, walk up to Pope and punch him, causing him to fall to the ground unconscious. Pope died from his injuries on April 23rd. The owner of Taboo says Frye was not one of its employees. He worked for a private security firm. A spokesman for the district attorney's office says they are aware of reports of troubling interactions involving private security workers at neighborhood establishments, saying in part the district attorney's office continues to work with our partners in law enforcement and government towards safety and justice for all Philadelphians, including members of targeted and vulnerable communities. As friends and the community mourns the loss of a friend, they won't forget the special life that touched them all.
And to see people come together collectively and share beautiful memories and anecdotes about someone who really was truly beloved, I think that there's beauty in that.
So again, Frye is facing third-degree murder. We did reach out to police, and no update on his arrest at this point. We're live tonight. Carrie Corrado, CBS 3 Eyewitness.
A bouncer at a Philadelphia club is facing possible murder charges after a man that he punched died
It
from
happened.
his injuries.
Sorry, Gray. It happened outside a Center City bar more than a week ago. The punch itself. Action News reporter Annie McCormick now joining us live outside police headquarters with more. And Annie, you also have surveillance video of that punch.
Yeah, Shara, that's great. That's right. And that surveillance video is a little disturbing, so we tried to stop it at one point in the video. At this point, no charges have been filed yet. Homicide detectives did not receive the case until Friday. That's because the victim died several days after he was punched. This surveillance video shows the punch allegedly from a bouncer at Taboo Bar and Lounge that knocked 41-year-old Eric Pope to the ground. Pope hit his head and died from his injuries over the weekend. The punch occurred on Saturday, April 16th. Pope's devastated family spoke to Action News from Massachusetts today.
He cared about people, helping people.
Taboo released a statement stating in part, quote, "When the unconscious individual was reported to our management, we immediately called 911 and sought assistance." But Taboo says the bouncer was not an employee. Action News has learned he works for a Philadelphia security company.
Yeah, dang, that is a big super gremlin on demon time.
And in recent weeks, there have been other incidents at Center City bars involving the same security company, according to police reports obtained by 6ABC. One incident was recorded on March 27th at 2:45 a.m. at Voyeur nightclubs, and another on April 3rd at 1 a.m. at U-Bar. The report states, quote, "Security guard choked and slammed the complainant to the ground. The complainant sustained a head injury." District Attorney Larry Krasner's office has not officially filed charges yet, and his office is currently reviewing what charges could be brought, including possibly homicide charges.
Let him go, Larry, and they ended up charging him with third-degree murder, so, you know, what can you do?
What I can tell you is I'm aware of the situation. My information is, I had information about the punch itself and the very severe injuries that followed even before the victim of that punch passed away.
Now, police say both the suspect and the security company that he works for are fully cooperating. For now, reporting live outside of police headquarters, Annie McCormick for Action News at 10 on PHL 17.
Are demanding justice for a D.C. man killed in Philadelphia. It's been more than a week since this man, 41-year-old Eric Pope, was punched by a bouncer outside of a gay bar, and it was all caught on camera.
Yeah, Matthew Torres has the latest in this investigation as his friends in D.C. mourn his death. So, Matthew, what are we learning?
Well, Leslie, we are going to show you that video, but covering the moment of impact. One of his friends here in D.C. questioned why no one has been arrested and tells me there was no reason for him to die the way he did.
And my thing is, you coming from D.C., you come from another city, you go to Philly to party, and you don't know how demonic the city is right now. There's 1.5 murders a day in Philly. So you going out there cutting a fool and taunting people is not a smart move, especially when you're surrounded by a group of super gremlins on demon time.
WUSA 9 obtaining surveillance video in Philadelphia the morning of April 16th. Police saying 41-year-old Eric Pope had just been escorted out of a gay bar called Taboo Bar and Lounge for being intoxicated. Moments after seeing him approaching this white SUV, a bouncer walks up to him, punches Pope before he fell to the ground and hit his head.
It's really heartbreaking when you watch the video and you just see how people take matters in their own hands for whatever reason.
In the video, Pope was laying on the street for about 2 minutes before he was dragged to the sidewalk. Investigators saying he wasn't responsive when medics arrived. He remained in the hospital in critical condition until he died Saturday.
It took my breath away. I immediately burst into tears. I felt like my heart literally was broken when I saw that, because Eric is just a genuine, just very sweet, compassionate. He's always looking out for people.
Keisha Tate Brown had been friends with Pope for 7 years and used to work together at the Federal Reserve Board. She says as a member of the LGBTQ+ community, he was all about inclusivity, describing him as positive and generous.
Gang violence and other kind of violence. So it is what it is.